Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Desktop Ball. It's been a while. I'm so sorry. Um, Background's new. We live in Austin, Texas now. We moved locations, so you know, it's crazy. It's been this long since I've done anything, but I've got an episode I'm really excited about. I've been working on this for a while, and finally, now that the draft is right around the corner, less than a week away, I'm excited to get this out. First off, this is a mock draft basically based on my opinions. This is not meant to be predictive of what I think teams will do. This is what I would do in each spot if the board fell the way that I have the board falling. Um, so I also have no trades. There are definitely teams that I think are gonna make trades. Teams that I think should make trades. The Cowboys are a team that's really rumored to go make a move, but I'm not doing any trades. I'm very interested in, you know, if the Cowboys do have to stick and pick, what are they going to do? I mean, everybody in the world has them moving up to six for the Browns spot. I just don't know if the Browns are going to do that, if they're going to move down. So without further ado, let's get into it. This is my mock draft with no trades based on my opinions, not meant to be predictive. Let's get into it. At number one, we all know the Raiders are going to select Fernando Mendoza. He's a quarterback out of Indiana. He wins the Heisman, leads Indiana to a 16-0 national championship season. Indiana, of all places, 6'5", great frame. Transferred in from Cal. He's a football nerd, loves the game. A lot of people will talk about his personality as a big plus. Um, Personality is what personality is. There's Aaron Rodgers is a total dick, and Tom Brady is sometimes a dick, and Kirk Cousins is super nice. I mean, you could be a great quarterback in a whole bunch of different ways. So I'm not so sold on his personality as like this factor that's going to make him an expert or like an immediate number one must have guy. But I am sold on the talent. I mean, the arm talent is definitely there. The frame is there. The ceiling is there. I think Clint Kubiak and the Raiders are just going to fall in love with this guy. And I think it's a no-brainer. It's really not even worth talking about. Um, is he better than Cam Ward or is he better than Caleb Williams? Is he better than previous number one quarterbacks? I don't think he's Caleb. Uh, Ward definitely has a little more in terms of arm talent, but I think what Mendoza has in terms of frame is also very interesting to me. It's a different style of prospect. I would put him on a very similar tier to Cam Ward of like, you know, there's no Caleb Williams or Trevor Lawrence in this draft, but this guy's pretty damn good and definitely worth taking one overall, especially given, you got to have a quarterback in the NFL, and the Raiders do not have one. They've been looking for one forever. This is your chance to get a guy who's 6'5", ascends in the big moments, great arm, can hit any part of the field. It's a no-brainer, and the Raiders are going to make the right pick here. The Jets, I think, should go with Arvell Reese at two. I think this is where the draft really starts, and I've seen a lot of people mocking David Bailey, the edge out of Texas Tech here. I just don't see it. Um, what Arvell Reese could be is just, I mean, this guy could be Micah Parsons. He really could. Absolutely has the upside of a Micah Parsons type of player. He played off ball linebacker. He's transitioned into defensive end. He can rush the passer. He can do everything you need in coverage. He's an absolute superstar. I think the Jets passing on him would be a mistake, especially for who I think is edge rusher two in the class. We'll get into that. But I just think Arvell Reese is such a superstar in waiting. You got to go get a guy like that if you're the Jets. Um, and I just really am not as high on David Bailey as other people. So if unless it's going to be Ruben Bain, which I really don't expect Ruben Bain to go at two, I think Arvell Reese is just such a can't miss guy that you gotta just go get him. That's what I would do if I were the Jets. Um, and that's who I have going at two. I haven't podcasted in a while. This feels weird. Cardinals at three. We're going with Ruben Bain, the defensive end out of Miami. Who, if you turn on a Miami game, you immediately notice. I mean, he just jumps off the tape in terms of his raw aggression, his productivity. I mean, you watch that Ohio State game or any of those games in the playoff, Ruben Bain is absolutely everywhere. He's a great edge rusher. He can, rush the passer, hurry the passer. Um, wasn't super productive in terms of sacks, so there's maybe a knock on like play finishing, but was extremely productive in terms of pressures. He is living in that backfield. Super smart, adapts as the game goes on, recognizes run schemes really well. Everybody's going to talk about the short arms. He does have short arms. Nobody at the combine has ever measured as short of arms as he had and had a 10 sack season. I understand that, but just watch this guy play, man. Just go look up Ruben Bain highlights. Um, his short arms, they show up on tape sometimes, but he is just an athletic freak. He rips through offensive tackles. And I think this is my edge rusher one in the class. I think the Cardinals have a pretty big need at defensive end. I mean, they have a need everywhere, honestly. But you're not going quarterback, obviously. I don't think any of the receivers are worth taking at three. Ruben Bain is going to immediately improve your defense a ton. The Cardinals have had no ability to rush the passer for since I can remember. So I think Ruben Bain's a great pick for them. I think it would be a slam dunk success. I have the Titans going with Sonny Styles. I think Sonny Styles had maybe the most impressive NFL combine in the history of the NFL combine. Just again, these guys at the top, just total athletic freak. I mean, but when you say athletic freak, Sonny Styles should be the name that comes to mind. Um, he's an off the ball linebacker, so positional value taking him at four would be expensive for sure. But I think Robert Saleh loves his Fred Warner, right? And I think Sonny Styles, he's probably not Fred Warner. That's a really tough bar to live up to. But I mean, this guy can do everything. He can cover, he can tackle, he can fit in the run. Um, I just think he's an absolute superstar. I would be shocked if he doesn't go top 10. I'd be surprised if he doesn't go top five. And I definitely would not mind if my Giants took him at five. But who I want even more is Caleb Downs. Caleb Downs came in to Alabama as a freshman under Nick Saban and was immediately a starter. He was productive. He was, the best defender on that Alabama team as a freshman. Xavier Worthy still got him in the end zone, though. But he was just immediately impactful. Saban leaves. He transfers to Ohio State. And all of the names that you can think of that have gone in these drafts. I mean, we have two guys over him in this draft, Sonny Styles and Arvell Reese. But all of the previous year's guys as well that existed on that Ohio State defense, which was one of the meanest defenses ever, and went and won a national championship. Um, this defense was built around Caleb Downs. It was built around the fact that Caleb Downs can get downhill and stop the run. He can do anything you need him to do in the pass game. He's just an absolute superstar. You can build your entire defense around him. Um, Extremely intelligent, knows where the ball is at all times, knows where his people are at all times, knows when to break off of routes and sink onto the ball. No, just absolute captain of your defense type guy. I think Harbaugh's going to fall in love with Caleb Downs. I've completely fallen in love with Caleb Downs. He's the best player in this class. It's not close, in my opinion. He is prospect one. If the Giants passed on him, I would be frustrated. Unless if it was for Sonny Styles, okay, fine. But the Giants have a need at secondary. We've been terrible, especially at the safety position for years. It would really be great to have a guy like Caleb Downs to just terraform an entire defense. And he's the best player in this class. I really don't think it's close. I don't think you can let him fall out of the top five. I understand positional value, but consider the value of adding a player like this to your defense. I really just don't think you can pass on this guy. Everybody in the world has the Browns trading down from six. A lot of the times it's with the Cowboys. I just don't understand that. Why would the Browns trade from down from six to pick up 12 and 20 and also give up 39? I mean, like the top end of this class, I think is so much better than like the medium end of this class that I don't understand why the Browns would trade down. At least not with the Cowboys. And the Cowboys trade is the one that's getting mocked like crazy. Um, I also think if the Cowboys were going to trade up, they would probably be looking for Sonny Styles or Caleb Downs. And in my mock, both of these guys are already off the board. So I think the Cowboys are even less incentivized to move up for a player. I think the Browns maybe want to stick and pick. And I've got them going with Carnell Tate. You have to improve this offense for if you're the Browns. I know a ton of people want to see them take Monroe Freeling or an offensive tackle, or and I get that, but they just have no answer. I mean, they have no talent anywhere on the entire offensive side of the ball. Go and get who is probably wide receiver one in this class. A lot of people think I actually have Carnell Tate as my wide receiver three, and this is the one spot where I am trying to be more predictive, I guess, than give my opinion. I think Makai Lemon is just a little too small, and you already have Jerry Jeudy for sort of that small, shifty role. Um, I don't think you can go with Jordan Tyson with the injury stuff. I love Jordan Tyson. We'll get into him, but I just think that the injury stuff, it's too much of a risk for the Browns to take on. And if he gets hurt, then it's just another year that passes by without the Browns improving. I think you go get Carnell Tate, who's a contested catch artist, big bodied, completely capable of going and making plays downfield. This picture in the big house is so cool. A lot of people's wide receiver one in the class, and I totally understand that. I mean, played at Ohio State. They've got a great hit right there at Ohio State. Capable, big bodied, gonna go up and make catches. Best contested catch rate in this class. So definitely a guy who comes in, starts, makes an impact right away. Shedeur Sanders' best friend, or whoever is there, is going to be their best friend immediately. Um, and I think that's what the Browns should do. If they want to go tackle, that's fine. If they want to go Jeremiah Love, that's fine. I mean, well, probably not because they just took Judkins. But like the Browns could improve in basically any position. I think whatever they do is fine. So just take best player available. And in my eyes, that's probably Carnell Tate, unless you wanted to go Jeremiah Love. But Jeremiah Love's a running back. Here's Jeremiah Love. I think the Commanders should take him. Jeremiah Love is my prospect two in the class. I think I think most people have Downs and Love in some order as their one and two prospects in the class. Maybe Styles is in there or Mendoza, depending on how you value quarterbacks, obviously. Jeremiah Love's just an absolute freak. One of the better running back prospects that I've ever seen. I mean, Saquon, I think, is still one. Bijan's probably my two. But I mean, Jeremiah Love is right there. Like he really is an absolute problem. If you want to, compare him to Ashton Genty of last year, like I could totally see Jeremiah Love being at least comparable, maybe slightly below Ashton Genty in terms of, how you view him. Commanders' run game is pitiful. It's been pitiful for years. Austin Eckler is now injured and completely gone. Traded away Brian Robinson. I don't know what the plan is here. And Jeremiah Love at 7 has to feel like an absolute steal for them. I think it's a slam dunk home run pick. Sprint up to the podium, say Jeremiah Love, and everybody's going to be happy. Saints need some pass rush, and I think David Bailey falling this far is honestly a little unlikely, just given the buzz that people are giving David Bailey. For me, he's edge two in the class. Let's talk about some positives. Fastest edge player in the class. Has a very good power rush. Has a very good. He's got a good power rush. I mean, it's mostly the transitioning of speed to power where David Bailey is excellent. He's a little bit lacking in terms of bend, but this is a type of guy who can step in day one and make an impact. The Saints need help in pass rush. They have needed help in pass rush for some time, and this is a guy who can come in and make an impact right away. I could totally see the Saints going receiver. If you want to go Makai Lemon or you want to go Jordan Tyson, I could totally see that too. I think David Bailey falling to 8 is a little unlikely. And if the Saints have an opportunity to grab him at 8, I think they probably will. Although I totally understand wanting to go receiver and improve around Tyler Shuck. I would not hate on that at all. Chiefs just got rid of their entire cornerback room, and Mansour Delane's cornerback one in the class. He's sitting here. go up to the podium and grab him. Extremely productive as a corner, completely able to leave this guy on an island, and he will lock down the other team's number one. I think he only allowed like 170 yards in this past college football season with no touchdowns, and I mean, just crazy stuff. Um, Completely capable, and my cornerback 1A in the class. And the only reason he's 1A is because the Bengals are going to run up and take Jermon McCoy as well. They need help at corner. He's my 1B. Jermon McCoy obviously had the knee injury all of 2025, but 2024, Jermon McCoy is some of the best cornerback tape you'll ever watch. Another guy you can totally leave on an island, plays a ton of press man, is able to take down your number one guy frequently. Um, Went to war with Jeremiah Smith in that playoff game in 2024. Jeremiah Smith is Jeremiah Smith, and he's going to beat you sometimes. That is what that is. And it was not Jermon McCoy's best game, but go look up some Jermon McCoy 2024 highlights. I mean, honestly, there really aren't even that many because he's just locking people down. He doesn't get targeted that much. Um, so those are my two corners. I think both of those guys should go, top top 12. I think these are the two corner needy most teams in that range, and I think those two teams should absolutely grab them. I would not even mind if my Giants took Mansour Delane at five. I'd prefer Downs, but our secondary needs help. Our defense is terrible. So if you want to go Delane or McCoy, whoever's your CB1, that's also completely okay with me. Dolphins completely blew up everything. Let's just start rebuilding. And the best way to start rebuilding is to get your franchise tackle of the future if there's no quarterback available. Um, you're bringing in Malik Willis. You paid him, I think, 3 years, 90 million, something like that. You got to protect him. You got to give him weapons. You get rid of Jalen Waddle. I mean, this team is going to need help. This team's going to need help at every position they can. The fact that Francis Mauigoa falls to pick 11, the Dolphins would be so fired up about this. Another sprint up to the podium, make the pick type of selections. I think Mauigoa is a cornerstone piece of your franchise moving forward, and they'll be fired up about that opportunity. The Cowboys are interesting. Obviously, a lot of people have them trading up to go get Downs, trading up to go get Styles. In the event that they're not able to trade up, what should they do? They need help at linebacker, but Styles is gone. I don't think there's another linebacker that's worthy of taking at 12. Um, they've one of the worst teams against the run, one of the worst teams against the pass, just one of the worst defenses in football. Let's just buff up this defense and get the best player, the best defensive player available. Honestly, at this point, that's Dylan Thieneman, safety from Oregon, rangy athlete, can go make plays wherever you need him to make plays. I think the Cowboys might have been the worst defense against the pass last year. I'm not entirely sure about that, but they're a team that needs talent in the secondary desperately. Has been weak in the secondary forever and has made some mistakes with who they pay and who they let walk, that type of thing in the secondary. I think Thieneman's the type of player you bring in and immediately starts on day one and improves this defense in a meaningful way. The Rams, this is our first. We're not doing trades, but obviously these picks have already been traded. The Rams are going to go with Makai Lemon. Makai Lemon won the Blitnikoff, is the best wide receiver in college football last year. Um, Slot guy, smaller guy, 5'10", but he's just an elite route runner, very good up at the catch point. You wouldn't expect it, but quite good contested catch player despite the size. He's going to play in the slot a lot. He's going to be in motion a lot. But between him, Puka Nakua, and one last year of Devontae Adams, how do the Rams get to a point from, they were really good last year. They were very close to a Super Bowl. How do we get to the point where this offense becomes you just can't cover these guys? How about we go and add probably the best receiver in the class in Makai Lemon, who is just absolutely dominant. This guy in a McVay offense would be an absolute problem. He would go probably in the second round in your fantasy draft. He should go extremely high in your dynasty drafts if you're doing that. This guy's an absolute problem. He would be a target merchant in a Rams offense with Sean McVay. The Ravens are also going to go receiver. They've got a pretty big need at receiver and have for a while. And I think Jordan Tyson is probably the best receiver in the class. The injury stuff is definitely concerning, but when this guy is healthy, he is just an absolute problem on the football field. Separator demon, can make any catch. Just a guy that's going to go out there and cause absolute nightmares for defensive coordinators. It's going to be Lamar Jackson's best friend immediately on day one. Um, Again, yeah, just separator. I mean, turn on the Texas Tech tape for Jordan Tyson. I mean, he gets injured twice in the game, which obviously is a concern. But I mean, he's still out there just being a demon, separating, making catches. Um, he's been NFL ready for a long time, and finally he's able to come out. This guy's going to be a problem. I think Baltimore's offense needs a receiver desperately. It's a great fit as long as there's no health concerns. I think this is a great selection for Baltimore. And that's all three of the top three receivers already gone at pick 14. There's some teams coming up that would really have liked to grab one of these top three guys, but I just think they're not going to last that long. The Rams, I think, should grab Mekhi Lemon. I think the Ravens really should grab Tyson. Tate, I think, will go top 10, which is going to be disappointing to a couple of these teams. One of the teams it might be disappointing to is the Buccaneers, who are losing Mike Evans, but I actually think that Kenyon Sadiq is a better fit in terms of who they should go and pick anyway. I don't think they should go receiver. I think they could play a lot of two tight end sets with Sadiq and Cade Otton, and then you've got Godwin, you've got Igbuka, you've got Jalen McMillan, Tez Johnson even. I don't think you necessarily need receiver. I think tight end is a better place for them to go and play a little more in the two tight end sets. Kenyon Sadiq is a great blocker. He's a great receiver of the football. He ran a crazy 40 at the combine. I mean, look at those bicep veins, just a crazy athlete. Um, this is a team that I think wants to add weapons, wants to get better on offense. With the departure of Mike Evans, and who's your big body target now? Igbuka's a little on the slight side. Godwin is a little older and also on the slight side. Jalen McMillan, and I'm not sure. Tez Johnson on the extremely slight side. Let's go get Kenyon Sadiq, a big physical guy who can go make plays. Really, I mean, he's a good tight end, a good blocking tight end, but he's much more of a receiving tight end. And he can be your big body target, your red zone guy. I think that's a great direction for the Buccaneers to go. My wide receiver four in the class is Casey Concepcion, another separator demon, um, just elite route running, special teams demon, fast, extremely fast, top end speed to get away from guys, yak guy for sure. His biggest problem is the hands. He has some inexplicable drops that come up on tape. That type of stuff is scary for sure. But I think they're mostly concentration drops. They're mostly the type of thing that, at the NFL level, I would hope you could coach out of these guys. And just the caliber of athlete and caliber of player that it's hard to pass on him. And I think the Jets, I mean, you're looking to improve next to Garrett Wilson. I think Casey Concepcion is a great complement to an offense like that. So that's what I would do if I were the Jets. I've seen a lot of Omar Cooper here. A lot of people have Omar Cooper as wide receiver four. I don't mind that if you want to go Omar Cooper. He's a great player as well. Um, I think people are just too low on Concepcion. I think he's a hell of a player. If he fixes some of the hand stuff, which I understand being concerned about hands, he is a wide receiver. Um, but I mean, this guy's just an absolute problem on the football field. You have to know where he is at all times, or he will make you pay. Played opposite for Mario Craver last year as well at A&M, so has no issue playing opposite another great receiver. Um, I think this improves the Jets' offense immediately, and Jets can be really happy about their first round. If they grab Arvel Reese and Casey Concepcion, I think they would be really excited about that. I would be excited about it if I were a Jets fan. Those are two players I think have incredibly high ceilings, and you're not competing today, so let's grab guys that could improve and become best player in the league at their position type of guys if they pan out. The Lions have a glaring need at offensive line. Offensive line was the Lions' absolute strength. They were one of the best offensive lines in the league. Um, and they've lost some guys. They've Taylor Decker's gone. Why am I forgetting the name of Frank Ragnow? Obviously retired and then came back and then was too injured to play. I don't know what his status is going into next year, if he's coming back again or if he's re-retiring. I have no idea. Spencer Fano has fallen way down on this board, and I think they would be really excited to go get him. Played tackle at Utah. Could move to guard. He's a little smaller. Definitely could move him to guard. The Lions need help all over their offensive line. They will find a spot for Spencer Fano, and he is the type of player that you want to go find a spot for sure. I would be surprised if he fell to 17. There was just no spot where I was like, this is the Spencer Fano spot until here, where it's like, yeah, the Lions would definitely want this guy immediately. A lot of teams tying the Vikings to Dylan Thieneman, but I think the Cowboys end up taking him at 12, which means the Vikings, who still have a pretty glaring need at safety, are going to go with Emmanuel McNeil Warren, the safety out of Toledo. Um, Toledo player, so not a guy that a ton of people have heard of up until this draft process, at least. But a really good safety, my safety three in the class, threatening Thieneman at safety two, but I think a a semi distant third. Very good player, definitely not Caleb Downs, but capable of a lot. And I think you think of a Brian Flores defense, they always have great safeties. They want to do all these exotic blitzes. Your safeties are going to have to be great if you're going to be doing stuff like that. Um, Lost a couple guys recently. I think Emmanuel McNeil Warren comes in. He starts day one. He's the type of player that you want to have on your defense for sure. It's tough to, it's really tough to evaluate these guys from Toledo. Is he just the best athlete on the field and that's why he looks so good, or is what he's doing, truly special? But tested pretty well at the combine, and I think he's got a shot to come in and be special right away. The Panthers could another team that could use help in a lot of places. Monroe Freeling's a guy who's climbing up boards a ton. I've seen him go as high on mock drafts as six to the Browns. I just don't see that, but I do think he's a hell of a tackle. My tackle three in the class behind Maui Noah and Fano. I think the Panthers could use a lot of help on offense just in general. If you want to go grab a weapon, that's fine. Seen a lot of people put Sadiq here. A lot of people put Omar Cooper or Denzel Boston here. I think Monroe Freeling's a great add on the offensive line. Protect Bryce Young a little more. Bryce Young needs more time than anybody else because he is so small, because he can't really get away from guys. So build up the best offensive line in the league would be my philosophy if the plan is Bryce Young moving forward. And just give him time to get Ted McMillan the ball. Ted McMillan's an excellent receiver. And honestly, Jalen Coker's a good player. Like they have enough talent in the receiving room that you don't have to go receiver. I think tackle's a great direction for them to go, and Freeling this late would be a great snag. Cowboys' second pick of the draft. I already mentioned they need safety and linebacker. One of the worst teams against the pass, one of the worst teams against the run. How about a guy who wore the green dot for Georgia? Just captain of your defense type of guy. Outside of my Texas Longhorn, whose name I'm forgetting, which is insane because I love this guy, DeMarvion Overshone. They really are weak at linebacker. I think that's the direction that the Cowboys could really go. Um, Really unlikely they go receiver here. I think if the plan is Lamb and Pickens, you're just so elite on offense already. One of the best offenses in the league. Let's improve on defense in every way we can. I think getting Thieneman and getting C.J. Allen puts you in a position to really improve this defense quite quickly. They could go Avion Terrell. They could use help at corner as well. I mean, the Cowboys defense has needed help all over the place for years. I think this is a great opportunity in this draft to go get some guys who are going to be absolute demons. I think C.J. Allen is that caliber of player for sure, and rising up boards as well. I think the Steelers go with Omar Cooper. Had to throw in the Penn State catch for Omar Cooper. Just truly one of the coolest moments of the college football 2025 season. They need help at receiver, somebody to play opposite DK Metcalf. Uh, Omar Cooper does a lot of back shoulder fades, a lot of quick stuff. That if it's going to be Aaron Rodgers, I think Aaron Rodgers, who loves to get the ball out quick, is going to love a guy like Omar Cooper. Um, Able to go high point the ball. I mean, look at that catch. Good route runner, just a solid receiver. and a guy who a lot of people are really high on. A lot of people are also really high on Elijah Surratt, the other receiver out of Indiana. I like Surratt as well. Um, if you just look through this round one of this draft, you would think this Indiana team was Fernando Mendoza and friends, and it really wasn't. This Indiana team was really good. Talent all over the field. I think Omar Cooper is a hell of a player. I think if the Steelers get him at 21, they're going to be really excited about that. Um, I think Concepcion's ceiling is just a little higher, which is why I went with him to the Jets instead of Cooper. I know a lot of people have Cooper going to the Jets at 16, so if that's your prerogative, that's completely fine. But I'm a Concepcion guy. I watched him play a lot during the season, so that just could be a personal bias thing as well. But I think Cooper's a hell of a player. Steelers need help on offense. Their offense is just absolutely dreadful, and I think Cooper's the type of player who could come in and make a splash quite quickly. The Chargers are an interesting situation because it feels like you're adding a ton just by getting healthy. Obviously, you lose Rashawn Slater, you lose Joe Alt at the start of last year, and then the entire season from then on is just a wash. I mean, a team that looked like they were going to be one of the better teams in football last year, and then all of a sudden, well, there's just no protection for Herbert. The offense completely stalls. Can't really draft receiver here because you've got Ladd, you've got Quentin Johnston, you've got Keenan Allen, who's old, but he's still there. Trey Harris, they took last year. They're still excited about, is what I've heard. So can't go receiver really. Can't go running back. You just took Hampton. Can't go tight end just because Sadiq's already off the board. I think Emmanuel Pregnon is a freak at offensive guard. I mean, just look at that. I mean, just total big frame, rangy athlete. You want to lean into protecting Justin Herbert, Mike McDaniel type of schemes with how he loves to pull guards and get them on the move. I think Pregnon fits that well. Um, he's the type of guy that I think both Harbaugh and McDaniel could fall in love with. And I don't see those two guys agreeing on a ton, honestly. So I think Emmanuel Pregnon's the type of guy you could definitely go and get. Is it a bit of a reach? Yeah, it's probably a bit of a reach. A lot of people have Pregnon as like an early round two guy. Um, but I think the type of player he is and the fit for the Chargers really makes a lot of sense. I think that's a good direction for them to go, especially with they've been so clear about we want to lean into protecting Justin Herbert. I mean, just look at this guy. Look at his arms. I mean, that's a guard. He's just gonna lock your guy down, and I think he's a hell of a player. The Eagles always get a guy like this, right? Like the Eagles just always take the guy that everybody else maybe has some issues with or, whatever. But like, just look at him. Just look at the athlete that this is. Caden Proctor, tackle out of Alabama. I mean, the guy is a complete house. The Eagles are not the type of team to let a weakness stay a weakness for a long time. The right side of their offensive line has been an issue. So is the center of their offensive line. Honestly, everybody's just getting older. I'm not sure how much longer Lane Johnson has. Landon Dickerson's not been great. Really, outside of Jordan Mailata, I really don't know what the plan is at offensive line for the Eagles. They love their SEC guys. Caden Proctor's just an absolute mogger, gigantic player. Plays with immense strength. His big problem is conditioning, obviously. I think he plays at like 360 pounds or something insane like that. If he dropped 20 pounds, I'm not sure that he would be able to play with the same strength. So it's a bit of a, which direction do we want to go with this player? Do we want to leave him as a strong player who, sometimes just gets gassed and lets up plays because he's gassed? I think the Eagles are the type of team that takes a player like this, makes them great. They just do it time and time again. I think if the Eagles get access to Caden Proctor, he's going to become a hell of a player, type of guy that everybody knows his name for the next 10 years type of player. A lot of people wanted the Browns to go tackle at 6. All right, fine. We'll go tackle here at 24. How about Blake Miller? This pick from the Jacksonville Jaguars that they got in that Travis Hunter deal. Blake Miller, just a solid tackle. Clemson underperformed as a team, which I think really hurts a lot of these Clemson guys in the draft process. But solid player, solid tackle, type of guy that you could take a swing on and hopefully will become the tackle, franchise cornerstone tackle for your team moving forward. I think the Browns come out of this draft with Carnell Tate and Blake Miller. They feel really good about that. They feel like they've improved their offense a ton, and give themselves a real chance. And this is a team that's solid on defense. Carson Schlesinger, a good player. Myles Garrett, best defensive player I've ever watched, maybe outside of Aaron Donald in my lifetime. Um, it's a team that really could take a big step forward. Obviously, it's going to be limited by quarterback play, but who knows? Maybe Shedeur turns into that type of guy. You give him a weapon, you give him an offensive line. Who knows? See what this guy can actually do. And if he can't do anything, well, we're in a pretty good spot to take in a quarterback next year. We're building around maybe Arch Manning or I don't know. Pick who your guy is in the 27 class, and maybe the Browns are setting up to build around that. The Bears need help on defense in basically every position. They have had no answer in run stuffing. They've had no answer in pass rush. I think the front seven is the big liability. You could totally go defensive tackle if you're a Peter Woods guy, a Caden McDonald guy. Those can be your guys for sure. How about Cassius Howell, the defensive end out of Texas A&M? Crazy athlete, good bend, raw as a prospect for sure. Maybe not as productive as you would hope for, but I think Cassius Howell is a hell of a player. I think he's on his way to becoming a very good player, and the type of guy that the Bears could definitely take a shot on. If they want to go linebacker, I understand that. I just don't think there's a guy, unless you're like a big Anthony Hill or Jacob Rodriguez guy. Maybe CJ Allen falls here. You could be excited about that. But if I'm the Bears, I'm looking to improve in any way I can. They were looking for the Max Crosby trade. They got outbid. Then obviously the Ravens pull the deal on the Max Crosby trade. The Bears can't go get him. I like Cassius Howell here. I think Cassius Howell's a really, really nice edge, and a player that you could get excited about, especially down here at 25. This could be really sweet value. The Bills are one of the worst run defense teams in the country. Let's just get an absolute behemoth up in the front lines to stop the run. Caden McDonald, defensive tackle, Ohio State, massive cornerstone of that Ohio State defense that was an absolute problem for everybody in the country. A guy who can come in and make an impact immediately, push centers and guards back, stop the run, shed blocks, do all the things you need him to do. I think the Bills absolutely need this kind of size and strength in the interior. They will have their pick between Caden McDonald, Caleb Banks from Florida, Peter Woods from Clemson. I think McDonald is the best tackle in the class, but if you're in love with any of those guys, go ahead and grab them. That's completely fine. Niners need help on offensive line. Trent Williams is getting old anyway, and they're working towards finalizing a deal. Outside of Trent Williams, they could use some more help. Here's a guy who's rising up boards a ton, especially at the end of this draft process. Max Ihinachor, offensive tackle, Ohio State, Arizona State. Don't honestly know a ton about this guy other than that everybody else is crazy about him. He's flying up boards. A lot of people think that the Lions should take him all the way up at 18 or 19 where the Lions are, wherever they are. I'm not so sold on that, but definitely a player that's worth a shout as a round one guy. I do think that this class, and it's taken me a while to say this, I don't think that this is the best class I've ever, examined in my lifetime. It's a bit of a down year, especially towards the bottom of this first round. It's like, all right, like what are you gonna do? And I think when teams, in thinner classes like this, really want to invest in trenches. They say, all right, like there's no demon receiver left. There's no superstar quarterback. There's nobody who's going to save our franchise. Let's just build. How can we build? I think Ihinachor is the type of player you can absolutely build around. San Francisco's run game is a massive part of Kyle Shanahan's plan. I think Ihinachor fits into that and also can go ahead and be a cornerstone blocker for Brock Purdy if that's going to be, what he turns into. The Texans are going to go ahead and make their strength what would you call it? A steel wall. A lot of people don't understand, a lot of people will not like this pick. And I understand it because you have Will Anderson, you have Danielle Hunter. Why do we need Keldrick Falk? Why would we go get a guy like that? The answer is actually that Anderson and Hunter only play on like 60% of snaps. And when they're out, the Texans defense is significantly worse. They're the type of team that likes to shift these guys in and out quickly, Falk is a raw prospect, but a crazy athlete and the type of guy that a team like the Texans could absolutely fall in love with. Um, Go and learn alongside Daniel Hunter and Will Anderson. Under D'Amico Ryans, this guy could become an absolute superstar in the league. He is that caliber of athlete. He's a raw prospect. I think it's a perfect landing spot for him, and it turns the Texans' strength into just being absolutely bulletproof in this spot. I understand wanting to go O line. I understand wanting to go receiver. I'm completely fine if you want to do either of those and get better on offense. But I think Keldrick Falk at this spot in the draft with this value um, gives the Texans an opportunity to turn what is already their best attribute into the best pass rush that the league has seen in a really long time. Chiefs again are going to go corner. They're gonna fix this secondary, or not fix, but refill, I guess, this secondary both in round one. Already went and got Mansour Delane. How about on the other side we go with Avion Terrell, the cornerback out of Clemson. Hell of a player. This would honestly be quite late for Avion Terrell to go. I just couldn't find a spot where I was totally in love with taking a cornerback. I'm not sure that there's as much need for. Well, I mean, corner's great. You always need corner. Um, but there were just so many players that I thought should go into certain spots. Avion Terrell slides a bit in my mock draft, but he's the type of player that comes in again. Will definitely start on day one in Kansas City, who got rid of Trent McDuffie to the Rams, made that deal. Um, I think they're going to have a completely new cornerback room, which they're going to need. They need to reset cheaply on cornerbacks, and this is how you manage a dynasty. We have to let some players walk when they get too expensive. Who are the absolute cornerstone must-have players on this team? It's really just Patrick Mahomes, and Chris Jones and Karlaftis, those types of players. But how do we then build around them? Well, we can't pay a corner 30 million. We just don't have the money for that. We're already paying Pat 55. I think what the Chiefs have said in this free agency cycle is, all right, we're going to reset on corner. We're going to bring in one guy, maybe two guys. I have Mansour Delane and Avion Terrell, and I think immediately their corner room is a strength again, and it's the type of the Chiefs defense has slipped in the past couple of years. You'd love to see them rise back up to the top. Or, well, I'd hate to see them rise back up to the top, but if you're a Chiefs fan, you'd love to see them rise back up to the top. I think these two corners, Delane and Terrell, are gonna really help them in that way. Dolphins, we need help on offense. We're bringing in this guy Malik Willis. We got to give him something. Denzel Boston slipping to 30 would be a pretty exciting thing for them, I think. Big body, contested catch guy. Didn't run a 40, which kind of says a lot. He's not a great separator, but he is a great contested catcher of the football. I expect him to come in and make an impact for Miami. And the type of team that needs a receiver desperately, getting one of this caliber this late in the first round, I think they could be excited about, and would be a really good pick for them. That's six receivers in round one. Um, Patriots need production on the defensive side of the ball, especially on the pass rush. The concern with Akeem Mesidor is that he's 24, 25, something like that. I don't remember exactly, but he's older. But you've got Drake May on a rookie deal. How do we make this team as good as possible right now? I mean, if you turn on Ruben Bain footage, it's hard not to also look over at Akeem Mesidor. I mean, this guy is also living in the backfield. He's also highly productive. Maybe he gets to go against the second best tackle on college teams because of who Ruben Bain is. But I mean, that's not like super how that works, honestly. Um, he's super productive. He's a great athlete. He can come in and make an impact for you today, which is what the Patriots need because this is a team that was in the Super Bowl. How can we improve right now as best as we can? I think Mesidor at 31 would be a great pick for them. Come in and improve that defense right away, get to the passer. And I understand the concerns about age and shelf life, those types of things. But, this is a team that was just in the Super Bowl. They're thinking, how can we get better right now? And I think Mesidor's the type of player that can get you better right now. Last pick of the first round, our reigning Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks. I have going with Jadarian Price. Jeremiah Love's backup running back out of Notre Dame. You watch this guy play. I mean, he would start at basically any other college. Truly, he would start at I think any other college. He's a hell of a player. Um, Fast, physical, aggressive, can get through you, can get around you. Um, Seahawks do not have a starting running back for next year, and a lot of people have Price as like a mid second round guy, which I understand. But the Seahawks have a pretty bad positional need at running back, and they're not going to get a running back of this caliber later in the draft. Doesn't seem like they're going to be able to get one of this caliber in free agency. Let's just go grab Jadarian Price, see if we can go back, get back into this run game that just won us a Super Bowl and commit to that. So that's it for the mock draft. Hope you enjoyed first round, at least the first round mock. I had a lot of fun putting this together, so hope you enjoyed it. Enjoyed doing this as well. I'm looking forward to draft day. I'm looking forward to football season. Let me know what you think. Did I get your favorite team's pick completely wrong? Did I nail it? Are there prospects you think I'm too low on? I mean, some guys that I really wanted to get into the first round but couldn't. Um, and maybe we could talk about a couple prospects that I'm a little high on. Let's do that. My guy Malik Muhammad, cornerback out of Texas, I'm really excited about just because he's. I mean, my Texas Longhorns that I'm really excited about are Malik Muhammad and Anthony Hill. Anthony Hill's a linebacker who can do absolutely whatever you need him to, and I'm really just surprised that he's not getting any first round buzz at all. The type of guy who can step in and I mean, he wore the green dot for Texas for multiple years. He's just a hell of a player. I hope he lands somewhere. Peter Woods and Caleb Banks, I mentioned the two defensive tackles. I could see them sneaking into the first round for sure. A lot of people are going to want to talk about Ty Simpson. I don't think Ty Simpson's that caliber of guy. I'm actually rather low on him. I'd rather have Drew Aller, which I think a lot of people would disagree with. Um, TJ Parker, the edge out of Clemson, I think is exciting. Definitely, if you're not a Mesidor guy for the Patriots, TJ Parker could come in and make an impact as well. Um, who else? Elijah Surratt out of Indiana, the receiver, I think is a hell of a player. Um, so yeah, I mean it should be an exciting NFL draft. Oh, and Michael Taft, safety out of Texas, I have to give a shout to. Just a hell of a player. Um, the type of guy that can go and be great. Honestly, is always underrated as an athlete his entire life, but just continues to ascend and make great plays. So I'm rooting for him in a big way. I'd love to see him end up at a good spot. I could totally see the Cowboys taking him, round two, round three, something like that. So we'll see. Anyway, long-winded, long episode, but good to be back. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next one.